On WFTV tonight, 8 Republican presidential hopefuls are in Milwaukee for the first GOP debate, but the party's frontrunner is notably absent.
I've taken a pass.
The former president choosing to address key issues in a pre-taped interview. His competition quick to criticize his decision and take aim at his closest rival. And then we're following up on promises made to firefighters by the governor's handpicked board overseeing Reedy Creek. What new documents are revealing about its budget for emergency services. Plus, more teens in Central Florida are entering foster care than last summer. We're speaking with the lead agency about why that's the case and what can be done to address the issue.
It's really a community effort.
This is WFTV Tonight.
More on those stories in just a minute, but first we are following breaking news tonight at 11. Police now say the scene near Town West and Karachi Boulevards in Port Orange was in response to a shooting that stemmed from a domestic disturbance. They say a stepfather shot his adult stepdaughter, then turned the gun on himself. He later died in the hospital. That woman is still being treated. We're working to learn why they were fighting in the first place. More now on the first Republican debate at the 2024 presidential primary underway in Milwaukee. Good evening, I'm Martha Sagowski. 8 candidates qualified for a spot on the stage. They include Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, former Vice President Mike Pence, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Missing from the event is frontrunner former President Donald Trump, who decided to release a pre-recorded interview with former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson instead. Opening the debate was a discussion on the state of the economy. Governor Ron DeSantis, Trump's closest rival in the polls, was given the chance to respond first.
Our country is in decline. This decline is not inevitable, it's a choice. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline.
Also called for lower gas prices. He said a major reason for inflation in the country's debt is the federal government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. He appeared to take a shot at former President Trump and his administration, blaming his administration for locking down the economy. Trump took his own jabs at DeSantis during his sit-down with Tucker. He also commented on everything from his indictments to his top priority if elected again in 2024.
Number one is a border and taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to their country.
The other GOP candidates in Milwaukee also talked about crime at the border, abortion, and global warming. We'll have much more on them coming up on Eyewitness News this morning, beginning at 4:30. WFTV Tonight is digging into state data that shows the Republican Party is expanding its lead in Florida. There are more than 5.2 million registered Republican voters in our state. That's about 568,000 more than the number of Democrats who are registered to vote. Democrats historically held a registration edge in the state, but that changed in 2021. Republicans hold all statewide offices. We are just hours away from former President Trump's expected surrender at the Fulton County Jail. He and 18 other co-defendants are facing racketeering and conspiracy-related charges over their alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. Today in Atlanta, a handful of Trump's co-defendants surrendered. Among them, Trump's former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. This is his mugshot. Then Giuliani was released on a $150,000 bond. Here's some of what he had to say as he was leaving.
I'm being prosecuted for defending an American citizen who I do as a lawyer, and 5 other lawyers are indicted. That should tell you right away that this is an assault on our Constitution.
Former President Trump himself is expected to be booked and processed with a mugshot. His bond is set at $200,000. Of course, you can count on WFTV to bring you the very latest developments tomorrow. As former President Trump turns himself in, we'll be keeping you informed on air and online at WFTV.com. Turning to another top story tonight, the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District is celebrating its first budget since the DeSantis-backed board took over Reedy Creek and the huge tax cut it includes. But after months of promising to beef up the fire department, documents show that budget falls short of some key promises that board members made. Nick Pampantonis explains what's missing. District leaders say they are also upgrading their 911 system. Right now, calls from Disney property and hotels are routed through the Orange County Sheriff's Office. We reported last week the 911 center is so busy, some calls aren't even getting picked up. They referenced that report when announcing the change. The district's administrator says they'll be able to save minutes by having calls go directly to their emergency dispatchers. We are getting a new look tonight at the man Orange County deputies say shot 2 of his sisters, killing 1 of them. Roby Sevier is charged with first-degree murder and aggravated battery. Investigators still have not said what led up to the shooting. It happened this morning near Moore Street and North Powers Drive in Pine Hills. The sister who died has been identified as Miguel Brown. The other woman was taken to the hospital with a non-life-threatening injury. A teacher at the Palm Bay Pineapple Cove Academy is behind bars tonight after police say she injured a 16-month-old child in her care. Sharina Buddha is charged with aggravated child abuse. Investigators say that toddler suffered scratches and bruising. The suspect was placed on administrative leave. She'd been employed at Pineapple Cove Academy for about a year. Well, the Viera High School football team is allowed back on the practice field, but the district has decided to cancel Friday night's game. All football programs were paused following a hazing incident last week that was posted all over social media. It appears to show several football players taking part in lewd behavior inside a locker room. Some of those students were suspended. The team was also required to undergo anti-hazing training. The district says it's still not decided when future games will resume.
We're not about canceling the season. That's not the goal. With the right protocols in place, with the right education and training in place to make sure what happened last week does not ever happen again.
The varsity head football coach was also relieved of his position. The district's investigation into the hazing incident continues. New data from Central Florida's leading foster care agency shows fewer children are entering foster care across Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties. It is a trend that's playing out across most age groups, except when it comes to teens. Sabrina Majore looked into why there are more older kids entering foster care than last summer. If you're interested in adopting or helping any of the children in foster care, contact Forever Family by going to 9family.com in partnership with Embrace Families. After the break, an important message about taking control of your health from a dear member of our Channel 9 family who wants to help others by sharing his cancer story. Tom?
All right, more on that coming up. Franklin could become a fairly sizable hurricane over time off of our East Coast. It's just now redeveloping. And we're also watching what could try to develop in the Western Caribbean and be closer to the Gulf of Mexico. That's coming up.
Sky Witness 9 on Channel 9 Eyewitness News, bringing you closer to the scene during live breaking news. Sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
It's going to shake up your day if you don't know what to expect when you leave your house.
You may need the umbrella at lunchtime. You may not need it on the way home.
We'll worry about your commute, what's going to impact you on the roads, how to dress your kids so they're prepared.
Because it's not a fun day when you run into something you didn't expect.
I want you safe. I want you safe and your family safe as you go about your day.
We're here to help you prepare for it.
We've got you.
Us 3, we're on top of it.
Eyewitness News this morning, live tomorrow starting at 4:30 a.m.
We are here to report the news, not be the news. However, today we're sharing a story on our Greg Wormuth. Behind the camera, he's been battling a form of cancer. It requires an aggressive surgery followed by a cosmetic procedure to repair his lower lip. He is sharing his story tonight, so you know why he will be off the anchor desk, not sitting here next to me for a little bit. And most importantly, to remind you to take control of your health now. You could call Greg a beach baby. From a little boy to raising his own boys, the beach has always been his backyard.
From day one, I was like the Coppertone kid. You know, I was always outside, and it didn't really dawn on me until this diagnosis that almost every picture of my childhood, literally, I either had my shirt off, or I was at the beach, or I was outside.
Coach, coach, coach. Years of coaching Little League. Boating, being in the sun has always been a way of life, but decades of basking in the sun has now come with a steep price.
A lot of the damage was done, more than likely, was something that happened in my youth and then, you know, never got a break. I did use some protection on my face, on my lip, but with your lip, you know, you lick your lips, you drink, you're in the water, and you don't think it's going to happen to you. So it did, and we're going to try to fix it.
Over the last 6 months, Greg has been noticing changes, and it's when he noticed a pea-sized knot on his bottom lip, he knew something wasn't right and looked for answers.
It was originally told to me that this knot, which was bothering me, was from trauma as either a kid, a hockey player, whatever, and it was scar tissue. And so I asked Kyla.
At that point, after examining it, it was a little bit too hard, a little bit too large and raised for my liking. So I recommended that he get it biopsied, and then it did look, in fact, like squamous cell carcinoma at that point.
It was after that appointment that Greg got a second biopsy and confirmed what he deep down already knew, that this was something serious.
If this is not taken care of, there are lymph nodes, there's a whole host of pretty scary stuff that could happen. So I want to be here.
After consulting with several doctors and talking with his family, Greg will undergo surgery, recover, and in due time be back on the air, using his own story to implore others to take care of their health now.
Because I think it's important for people to see my journey. And I'm hopeful and I'm confident. And, you know, the Bible talks about that all good and bad is used for the good. And so I think and I trust that that's going to happen.
And also trust your intuition if something in you says something's not right.
Yeah, that voice is there for a reason. Men, we need to man up. And we need to understand that we're no good to anybody unless we're here. And the only thing that I want in my life is to be there for people, especially my family.
Such a beautiful family, too. Greg's surgery is set for 6:30 tomorrow morning. He has read so much of the kind messages that our viewers have been leaving on social media. He says they mean just so much. Of course, we will keep you posted on his recovery. He should be asleep by now.
Yeah, he's got to get up dark and early.
He does. He said he was going to enjoy a dinner of pancakes, I think, and then go to bed. And we're going to follow his journey. 3 important messages. You know, guys, get checked out.
Yes.
So many times you guys don't want to get in there and get stuff done. Yeah. Trust your intuition. If it feels like something's not right, trust your gut. And 3, wear your sunscreen, because this was decades of being out in the sun.
Yeah, we're in the Sunshine State, but you got to take protection. I like to wear, you know, a big hat when I'm out and around, and just do whatever you can to protect yourself, because
all over.
It will get you. Here's a live view from Daytona, where there's some rain out there. Not much, but some, with an onshore breeze, 84 degrees. There's the shower activity coming through from Ormond Beach down toward Daytona. Also a couple of showers heading toward New Smyrna. As we head through the late night hours, the showers will begin to break up, and maybe a sprinkle early, but most of the day, in fact, all the way pretty much through Sunday, we've got pretty quiet weather again, with the onshore breeze around 90 to 92 across the I-4 corridor, perhaps as warm as 93, except for the weekend. It looks pretty nice, but the weekend's going to be getting hotter. And then next week, we're going to get rain chances back up, and I think that's going to come from some tropical rainfall. Right now, a couple of waves out in the Atlantic we're keeping an eye on. This is Franklin, could become a pretty big hurricane, and we're going to be watching the Caribbean closely over the next several days. This is the 11 o'clock advisory on Franklin. Winds are up to 45. It's got a nice swirl here just on the east side of the far southeast Bahamas. This is going to get pulled right and then left and then be off of our coast about 350, 400 miles with some wave activity. We'll keep an eye out for that. That'll be arriving by early next week. In the meantime, early next week, we're going to be watching the moisture down here to the south, and the models continue to show. This is a European model, which is the most bullish, or you know, aggressive, if you will, with this particular wave moving across. This is Friday, and then getting over here very close to Cancun, Cozumel. The GFS, the American model, also brings it up, but over land, it doesn't have as much development. But generally, the models are trying to bring this moisture north. This is Franklin, by the way, but the Euro continues to try to develop something out here. If we were to get some rain from it, probably starting more Tuesday through Wednesday. If we have more impacts from it directly from, say, a tropical system, it could be here Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So we're watching things closely 6-7 days out. 7-day forecast. I've got heat coming. I don't have much rain except for a few coastal showers tonight. And then, Martha, better chance for rain. We'll keep an eye on the tropics very closely.
We know you well, Tom. Thank you. A Brevard County couple has been living in a hotel since fire damaged their home.
So actually, the fire was burning over our heads.
And they blame Florida Power and Light, who they say is not offering enough to help them rebuild. Up next, how the company responded when Action 9 reached out for answers.
It's a privilege to be Central Florida's chief meteorologist. It's something that I take internally. I've spent the last half of my life doing this every day in Central Florida. We pool all of our resources here in Severe Weather Center 9 to give you the latest advanced warning so you can take those early steps to keep your family safe. You have to build that trust over the years, and that's what I always strive for every day. Keep building trust. I try to get every day right, and I won't stop. I'm here to keep you safe.
A couple of Brevard County veterans blame Florida Power and Light for a fire that burned them out of their home. That fire sparked in late June, and they've been living in extended stay hotels since then without any help from the power company. Action 9 consumer investigator Jeff Deal got answers from the utility and looks into what the couple might need to do to start rebuilding. Now, Robert Rollins told us they now plan to sue because talks with FPL aren't going anywhere. We've placed the entire statement from FPL on our website. Just go to WFTV.com. If you have a tip for our Action 9 team, head on over to WFTV.com or check out the WFTV Action 9 page over on Facebook. All right, don't go anywhere. Beautiful night. Tom is back with a look at your wake-up weather next.
Severe weather updates on WFTV are driven by Toyota of Orlando and Toyota of Claremont.
So we're going to wake up to a little possibly shower.
A little shower along the coast early in the morning. We've already had some rain in Daytona, New Smyrna. Otherwise, pretty quiet day tomorrow. We're back not too hot, 90, 93, but we are going to be warming up. I've got mid-90s this weekend, and then watching the Caribbean and maybe the Gulf could have some tropicalness out there.
You think we might get a little something?
Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
We know you will.
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.
See ya.
At McCoy Federal Credit Union, we're proud to be a 9 Family Connection partner.
Watch Eyewitness News from any device with Eyewitness News Livestream, sponsored by Bogan Munz & Munz. Choose trust. Choose Bogan Munz & Munz.